Welcome everybody to our urban parking system repository that's been designed and built in Enterprise Architect. It's great to have everyone here from the Sparx Systems YouTube channel, and we really appreciate your support and love that you're enjoying the videos and finding them useful. Today we're going to be looking at our urban parking system once again. We're going to look at how we can keep track of some of the changes that happen in our urban parking system and how we might go about tracking some of those changes. So welcome, Stephen. Great to have you here again today. And looking forward to this interesting topic that I feel like all customers find valuable.
Thanks for the introduction, Scott. And yes, always delighted to be here. When we start these videos, if you've been following on looking at prior videos, we normally start our video by going up into the top right-hand corner and setting the perspective, which sets the framework or the languages that we want to use or the disciplines that we want to be involved in, for example, requirements or business modeling. Auditing is a general part of the tool, and it's about governance, Scott. It's about making sure that your model and the information in it has integrity, and making sure that you can see the changes that have been made and who's made them. So while I talk about it as a governance issue, and I don't want people to think that it's necessarily a draconian kind of practice. People often get intimidated when they think that something's being audited. I see auditing as my friend. I see it as something that can help myself as a model and also the organisation. So not everyone will be given the permission to access the auditing thing. And if we just go in and have a look at the permissions for particular users, let's just do that quickly and look at some of the permissions there. So you can see here that as a administrator there, I've got this one here, audit view and audit settings enabled. But if someone else was here, you can see that Jenny, who's a member of the Enterprise Architecture Group, doesn't have the ability to look at these audit features. So that's all finally controlled by the permission system and the security system. I just wanted to mention that in passing. So let's close that window for a minute. And where do we find this feature, this facility? On the settings window, we look at the security panel we looked at. Now looking at the model panel there, and you can see that there's an item called auditing. So let's turn that on and let's have a look here. It comes up as a pretty much a blank window because we haven't done anything to configure that yet. So let's have a quick look at the configuration. We can hit the configuration button there, and as with a number of other types of windows, we can enable the facility or that capability in the tool by clicking on enable auditing. Before that, it wasn't on. So now we've got a number of different options. We've got auditing level, audit options, and we've got another group here about importing, exporting, and reverse engineering. So we'll talk about these. So we've got core, standard, extended, and debug. So essentially what's going on there, Scott, is that we're getting kind of deeper, I guess, into the things that we can do. So the core one will record changes to elements, including their attributes and operations, packages, connectors, and some model level information. When we go into standard, it does all the things that the core does, plus some changes to kind of housekeeping data for diagrams like names and authors and versions and stereotypes. And you can check the changes to diagram content and structure using the baseline facility if required. Extended, when you select this button, you get all the standard ones plus changes to project security. So if someone's made some changes to security, that would be an important thing to look at. And debugs, it has got all of the extended features plus changes to any database tables. So that's kind of what those things are about. When we look at the maintenance one, we look at changes to maintenance elements only. So we've got things like features and use cases, actors and notes and things. And let's leave these out here. This is an introduction to auditing, but let it just be said that when people are importing and exporting XMI content or reverse engineering things, that can be recorded as well. We're not going to do any of that today, but those options are there to record it.
It's good to know there are comprehensive features there if you need them. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go and put it on standard, which is, a useful one. And let's say, we'll say, I think we might do core structural. So this button will changes to maintenance elements plus certain structural elements. So packages, classes, interfaces, all sorts of things there. Let's leave it on. Actually, let's leave it on all. We can choose a custom one there if we want and customize that, and that'll pop up and allow us to set the particular elements that we want to be looking at. Let's go all there, and let's now go OK to that. Auditing has been enabled. Access is restricted to corporate or beta editions of Enterprise Architect. So if you've got the corporate, the unified, or the ultimate versions, it will be available. So now we've done that, let's have a look now at making some changes in our model. Let's go to one of my favorite diagrams, the starting diagram here, which is this class model, and let's make a couple of changes. Let's change this display here to be the LCD display, and let's have a look at someone who, say that the author was me, but Jenny's actually been the one that's been looking at this. Let's do that, and now let's close that and go back to our audit view. And if we look at this, we can look at this model, and let's have a look at the configuration again. We've got that all set, and let's refresh this model. We'll look at the user, and we'll look at the mode, time period, and default view. There we go. So we can change the mode there to default view, filter to the browser, and let's look at the class elements there. So it's picked up this LCD display there, and it's made a list of the things that have been changed. Now over on the right-hand side, we've got property, original, and change. So it's keeping track, not telling you what it's been changed to, but what it came from. So let's look at this, and you can see here that the name was changed from display to LCD display, and it's also got this modified date. So you can see that original was the 21st of the 2nd at 10:57. Now it's gone in at a different time. We also changed another property, which was the author, from Stephen White to Jenny Kitabashi. So you can see that's useful. And notice the orange display there. Let's go and make a change to our class model, and let's create a new element in here. And let's call this LCD display there. Let's call this the lighting. Well, let's call it the backlighting module. So this is to do with the lighting for the display, and we'll put that in there. Remember, we would add some notes to that. Let's make a connection between that and the LCD display, and and let's also look at this color there. We'll just make it into that color. We use our layout ribbon. We use the on the style panel, we've got our color picker there, and we've picked that color. Select this element, do that. So we've got that element there, and it's in the repository now. I'll save that. Now I'm going to go back to my audit view, and let's have a look at this one here and the LCD display, and we can do find in browser, finding things there, and let's have a look at a default view there, and we'll look at the backlighting one, and you can see now that that has got
the green option. Yeah,
the green option there. It's a diagram object there, the LCD display there. It's got a connector that's been changed, and if we go back into these other views, so filter to browser, a sequential event log. Let's have a look at filter to browser, and you can see now that that is there. The details is the LCD display there, and let's go into the sequential event log there, and you can see now that there's a whole lot of changes that have taken place, and if you look at them, it's going from 11:47 through to 11:50, which is the time frame that we're operating in here, and you can see here that this this object is new here. You can see with the green tick that it has it doesn't have any original properties, and now it's got all of its change properties. So all of those properties have changed because they're all new there. So let's do something else now in the diagram. Let's go and delete that element. Having done that, we'll put the mode back into default view, and you can see that we've got our diagram elements and our class elements, and we've got our backlighting there. You can see that that's been created, and you can see that I originally called it class 1, but it then changed it to backlighting module. So that changes in there. That was the original creation of it. And then now that's the change where I updated its name. So very, very fine-grained recording there. The other thing to notice is that actually the audit settings have been recorded as well, that we actually changed a number of things from core to standard and from disabled. So the original thing was disabled and we made it enabled, and then we changed it from core to standard. So let's go and do something else in the diagram and see what happens. Let's say we've had looked at this backlighting module and someone's made a misjudgment, and the LCD display actually meets the requirement of being able to be seen from various locations, say within 3 or 4 meters of the parking display, and we don't need this backlighting thing because the display unit that we're purchasing actually has that built in. So let's delete this element here, and I can do that. Remember that if I hit the delete key or delete from here, you can see what happens. It's gone, but it didn't actually go from the repository. So just to make sure you understand that, here's the backlighting module, and if I was to go Control Z on this diagram now, you can see it pops back. What I need to do is to delete it from the model. I can do that by holding the Control key down and deleting it. So I'll do that, and you notice that Enterprise Architect pops up a warning message saying that this action can't be undone. So I'll delete that, and I'll go in, just close my audit view for a minute and come back into it and just show you that doesn't need to be open there while that's going on. And I can come back into my settings, go into auditing, and let's go into our mode here, default view. Let's go into our class elements, the backlighting one, and you can see now that
that's a red cross.
Even though the element's gone from the repository, it's still recorded the information that it has been deleted. So the original was all of these values, and the change is nothing because it's gone from the repository. So I can group by type here as well, or user. So I can look at Stephen Maguire's changes, and if I logged in as a different user, then they would come up, and I'd be able to see not only what Stephen Maguire did, but maybe what Jenny Kitabashi had done, or any of the other users. So quite powerful there. That changes the display around. So now I'm looking at these elements, and
at the top you've got user, time, and details. So for each of these elements, you can see who made the change, at what time it was made, and details about what it was.
So that's that's a powerful thing. It's the user, both their their name, Stephen there is my first name, and then my login name, and then the time details right down to the to the second, and we've also got the type of element and its name there as well. So again, a powerful thing. When that got changed, you can see that the details now becomes the backlighting module, because at a particular point in time I changed it from class 1 into that, and now you can see those details. So lots of powerful things there. There's load and search time period. We can look at today, previous hour, previous 24 hours. So lots of different things, and a custom there where I can set my own time period. Scott, I just want to say a couple of things about this. We have scratched the surface of this particular topic. It's incredibly powerful there. You can see under configure, let's go back to this. You can see under here we've got save logs and load logs and clear logs. So it's not expected that someone turns this facility on, this auditing facility on, and lets it just stay there for for a long period of time. What's expected is that even if you wanted to, right from the beginning and the inception of your repository, to have the audit logging everything that's being changed and recording who's doing things, you would at times need to save those logs out and clear the logs, internal logs. This information is being stored in the repository, and the repository will get larger, and the auditing will start to have a performance hit on the repository. Not immediately and not after a short period of time, but after maybe months, depending upon how much work that you're doing, you might want to save those logs out and clear them. And notice you can you can load logs back in again. So that's something for an administrator or a librarian to keep track of. The other thing I want to say, though, Scott, is something I mentioned in the beginning, that this isn't a draconian thing. A very good use case for this is if you get a new team member, for example, or a new group or a whole team, you may want to turn this auditing on, not because you want to check up with them within their probation period or something like that, but to help them and to help the evolution of the repository. So it's common for a new user into the tool to be not perhaps following protocols, not naming things the right way, not doing particular changes that you want, or perhaps even accessing parts of the model that they really shouldn't, and you can lock that down with security, but you might have kept it more open. So this gives an opportunity to record what they're doing from a feedback point of view, to give them the opportunity to look at what they've done and to give them some positive feedback, and I guess to arrest the behavior that's wrong and correct it into new behavior that will benefit the whole team. So a very useful thing. So don't think about it as just turning it on and leaving it on. It's not about that. It's about using it in particular circumstances that you need to try and get an understanding of what was changed and when it was changed, and other information about any changes that are going on in the repository.
No, that's good, and I could see how that information would be useful, and how, for example, if you had a new staff member start and they're creating elements but they weren't naming them correctly, you'd be able to see that from the logs and say, look, here's our naming convention, here's what we do in this team, this is the naming convention you should use. So I could see how that would be quite helpful as a teaching and learning experience, not just its auditing function. All right, well, thank you once again for showing us and introducing us to the topic of auditing and keeping track of changes within Enterprise Architect. It's certainly comprehensive and very powerful to see everything that's changed. To our audience, if you've enjoyed this video, we'd appreciate a thumbs up, a like on the video. It's always great for the algorithm, and it's great to get feedback. We always encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. We love growing the YouTube channel. There's hundreds and hundreds of videos available, and can really help you with every aspect of Enterprise Architect and the Sparx Systems product suite in general. If you have any questions about auditing or tracking changes, please feel free to reach out to Stephen via his credentials. His LinkedIn credentials are in the video comments and notes below, and his website information is also there. So thank you, Stephen. It's been great to learn about auditing and how to keep track of changes. I appreciate your time. Great to hear from you.
Always a pleasure to be here and sharing knowledge, Scott.